Good morning, good morning, good morning, everyone. Good afternoon, I should say. What am I saying?
It's morning
it is
somewhere. It's morning somewhere.
it is morning somewhere, and I am so excited to be back here for another Sunday. We've made it through another week to be here to share our wealth and our experiences with each and every one of you out there in the virtual world, and taking this moment, this hour with us on a Sunday to chime in. I do appreciate your consistency in supporting this platform. My name is Meschida Philip, and I am your host of Chime In Live. And this platform, it's about bringing together all of the creative minds and people in the industry, whether it's in front of the camera, behind the camera, that are making the entertainment industry flourish. So bringing all that beautiful films and music and just overall creativity into your home to continue to entertain you and empower you. Today, we are addressing a very important topic that normally is just glossed over in not just the creative community, but also yeah, not only in the creative community, but in our community, our Black and in our Black and Caribbean and community on a whole, and that is mental health. We It's still a taboo in the Caribbean. We don't like to talk about it, but a lot of us have issues, whether it's from depression, anxiety, bipolarism that we are now seeing as a trending phase because of Kanye West now. And once you can attach some level of celebrityism to a problem, it now becomes that thing and that people feel comfortable talking about. So today we have two amazing individuals who are doing some extraordinary work in that capacity in bringing and changing the narratives and bringing this to the forefront by utilizing their talent and their professionalism in bridging the gap from regular individuals who are not part of the creative space, but understanding that through creativity, we can now address a lot of the issues that we normally don't tend to do so. You know me, I like to have my guests introduce themselves. I'm one of those hosts who believe so. I think you can introduce yourself the best way rather than just me reading a bio. So today we have Kevon and Christopher, who are on our panels and hailing from Trinidad and Grenada. So my fellow Caribbean creatives. And not only am I happy to have this opportunity to share this platform with them, but these are two Black men in the Caribbean utilizing their talent. So I have to highlight that because you're not females who are having that whole nurturing part, but you are one in a million who are taking your voices and your professionalism to make a change. So I like to give you about 60 seconds to introduce yourself. If you do it in less time, more power. So Kevin, let's go and introduce yourself to the world out there.
Okay, good afternoon, Meschida. Good afternoon, Chris. It's fantastic to be here. Thanks for having me. My name is Kevon Foderingham, and I am an arts for social change advocate. I'm from Trinidad and Tobago, the founder of Caribbean Fashion and Arts Feature Festival, which is a nonprofit that focuses on arts education as well as the promotion of art. And I'm also the founder of ECAD, which is a premier arts hub, and our focus is really on providing a platform for the use of arts for entertainment, but also using the arts to affect social change in a general sense.
Awesome, awesome. And Chris?
Hello, everyone. My name is Christopher Roger Frenchy Williams. In Grenada, everybody know me as Frenchy. And I've done so many things. Let me just highlight a few. I am actually originally a French teacher for a number of years, and I have switched over into film, theater, drama and all of that, but I have seen it more on the academic side, and what I've done is taken it into a mental health perspective, where I created a Grenada Acting and Film School, and I've been training persons to use the arts for what you call self-development, or we call empowerment through the arts. Out of that, I created the Drama for Peace Foundation that has been helping a lot of persons mentally to rehabilitate or to find a place back in society. I also host and produce a road called Grenada, if anybody knows about that one. It's a show that is right now on social media, as well as Meet the Artist, where we go in details. We're speaking with artists of Grenada. I'll pause there.
I told you. I mean, they have a wealth of experience between the two of them. And the format here is very free-flowing. And I don't believe in making all this preparation, because I think Kevin and I were talking in the back end, and I just like things to flow. So like I said in the opening, that now we are seeing the term bipolar being trending, right? Because of Kanye West. And people are poking fun about him and the whole situation. But this is a serious, serious, serious issue that we just like to put under the mat and not address. But it is something that is affecting a lot of us. And within the creative world, I don't know about you guys, but there are days that, thank God for my network, who keeps me grounded and who keeps me focused, because as a creative, with all these crazy ass thoughts that is going through your head every single time, sometimes you need to be pulled back in. And I like to say we're all 1 second away from being crazy. And especially now with 2020, the traumas that we all are dealing with. Many times we don't know how to express ourselves. So if you see someone acting up or being very expressive in society, oh, that person is mad, or that person have problems, or that person have this, but there's always a root to why someone is acting up the way that they're acting up, you know. I have friends who are comedians, and for them, their whole perception in the world is always about being happy. They always have to be the life of the party. They always have to bring it. And the opposite side, when all of the cameras are off and the lights are turned down, they're just human beings. So I am going to ask the question, what drove you guys to start looking at things in a different perspective and saying, we have to now bring the issue of mental wellness and to the forefront in the work that you are doing? I will start with Chris, because you are actually using the drama as that part of it.
Yes. Oh, thanks. Whoa. You're going to make me talk now. Don't make me talk. Don't make me talk. Yes, I was trained at Edna Manley College of the Visual and Performing Arts. And that's where I did my Bachelor of Arts in Education, Drama in Education. And Drama in Education has a lot of depth in psychology, philosophy, and all of that in it. But what I noticed has been happening is that we've been basically doing just academics. And as I said to you, I am moving out of the academics and see the power. The persons who come to do the arts really come for some help, for an answer to a hidden problem, something that's buried. You understand? But most persons don't see it. You think it's just to get a degree or to get some certificate. But these are the persons who are come asking and crying, help me, please. And that's where I'm going to channel my energy. Some finish, they say they come out of doctors, tell them, well, we can't do anything for you. Go on to actor, express yourself. And I say, but wait, no. The arts is so powerful. How come nobody is using it for that purpose? What's going on? What's going on? So many persons are crying. Students are breaking down, dropping out, and nobody cares. I say, no. And in Grenada, now you see it in Grenada, if I take it in the perspective in Grenada, when I went back, I said, guys, this thing is too powerful. let us stop taking drama as being a comedian or going on stage and just make fun and entertain people who laugh, as you said, Meschida, just for 20 minutes or an hour, and they go back home crying and bawling. And so I developed this model. I say, guys, I know how to help these persons. I've tested it. I say, most of the persons who come to join my school, some of them come because they want that peace of mind.
Mm-hmm.
And I channel it from just acting into self-development, holistic cleansing. That's why I moved it, because I saw so many persons being abused, raped, traumatized, depressed. And yes, I've seen the bipolar, I've seen the OCD people, ADHD, I've dealt with a lot of them out of drama. And I'm telling you, people are doubting me and saying, that can't work. And I say, guys, I have written, documented every form of evidence where these persons thought that they wanted a degree or whatever it is, but they really came for healing and nobody saw it. And I dug into it and I say, this is what I'm going to do with drama therapy. And they come out after 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, they are the happiest person ever. People who they say they send into Monge or the madhouse. I have dealt with them. They're outside now because of drama.
Learning how to express themselves.
Yes.
Finding and channeling that kind of the trauma and addressing it in a different way. You made a statement, and the reason I think people are not looking at it, because we have to back it up. In the Caribbean, art is not taken seriously. Film is not taken seriously. Drama is not taken seriously. So this is not a respected career path. So we don't see the value in it. So maybe that is why people don't see how this could be so helpful in so many different spaces and ways. I know, Kevon, that you're using it in a different way to channel that whole social consciousness. So we have the mental part in utilizing it for drama therapy, and then you're using it from a different perspective. Can you talk about that a little?
Yeah, sure. So I have always been, as I call myself, I've been arts adjacent. So I've always been a supporter of the arts. So I would go to every exhibition, I would go to every show, I would, be around creative people. My father is a creative, so I've been around creatives for most of my life, not necessarily practicing myself as a creative. Most of my formative background has been working with a lot of NGOs, working in a lot of development spheres. So working on HIV prevention, working on gender-based violence prevention, working on non-communicable disease prevention. That has been my thing. And then I, decided that my passion is the arts, but my formative background has been in development work. So why not merge the two? Because I would not have been happy just doing creative stuff, and I would not have been happy just doing development work, because they are the two facets of me. So I decided, let us see how we can merge this. And then similar to what Frenchie was saying, definitely, we have been trying things the same way for so many years. We have been trying to effect change and effect policies and reach different people and different communities and reach youth. But why try the same thing over and over when, as Caribbean people, we are so talented and our culture is so rich and our artists are so amazing? Why not use that now as a tool to try to reach people who need to be reached and to give them context as well, and also celebrate the culture that we have? So using that as a bridge now to reach these young people, because really our focus should be on the young people. They are the ones who have to take this forward, and not just to be entertainment driven, but give them a sense of who they are by showing them that our culture is more than just for entertainment. It can be used to build a community. It can be used to build your economy. It can be used to build the society. Yeah.
Because this is amazing what you're talking about, because a few sessions ago we talked about representation.
Yeah.
And when you are lost and you don't know who you are and you don't have a sense of identity, many times anything can be infiltrated and you're just anything. And I like the fact that you're saying that our culture is so rich in its own self, and the way in which we have our own unique language.
Yeah,
that's different from other influences, right? But yet we still want to adapt to the Western ways of treating our own uniqueness. And I like the fact that both you guys are targeting the younger generation, because they're, in our opinion, the ones who are most vulnerable and at risk right now of losing that sense of where do we belong? Where does that identity start? I like the fact, Chris, that you talk about with your drama therapy. Talk about a little bit, if you can give us, like, you said you have written a lot of stuff about it. And I know in Grenada, a lot of people talk about the things that you're doing. But as far as what does that look like? So I am broken, I'm a young child, and I have behavioral problems. Do I just call you and say, hey, I want to register in your program? How does that work? Are you working in cohesiveness with different psychologists in Grenada or different doctors in Grenada? What does your platform look like?
Okay, great. All right, put me on the spot now. Put me on the spot. Let me tell you the truth. Since I've started this, let me go way back in 2011, 12. I've done a lot of work with Child Protection Authority, social services, the NGOs, GNO, and all of them, and even legal aid and counseling clinic. I've done using the arts to help persons in the villages speak out about abuse and all of that. And I would let me go way back in 2011, 12. All right. And what I want to say is that basically what happened is that when you do outreach programs, persons don't want to speak up. So you engage the arts to take them in another perspective, from an oblique angle, and not so themselves, but from someone else's perspective. And that's what we've been doing. That's what I've been engaging, to get them to understand that you can talk about this, but let's look at this person there in the mirror, not you yet. And that's where we've taken them to that perspective and developed on it. All this to say is that, yes, I've been working with these NGOs, these institutions that really deal with the broken, the abused, the traumatized, and whatever, domestic violence. At every level, I've done it with the NGOs. The sad thing, though, the sad thing is that the support has faded because, and I'll tell you, I hope a lot of us might be listening now.
No, that's
what
fine.
has happened is that
it's being open because
the persons who have found self and started speaking out against abuse and decided I would no longer accept it, and they're saying, I am now myself, I understand who I am, and I've taken them through that process. They now were being targeted by the perpetrators, and the perpetrators were assisted by people in authority who have the power to stop the perpetrators, and I became a target and attacked. So yes, we work with the people, but the people who know better are not helping you. Right? My program doesn't take over the role of a psychologist.
Mm-hmm. You have to work in tandem with a psychologist. It's an expressive platform.
A support system.
Yes.
Right? So what we do now, we make the referrals. But when you make the referrals, you become the target.
You see,
you get me?
Yeah, a big thing. It is interesting. That's just an interesting assessment there. But I think for us, the challenging thing is drama and what is being implemented within the school system. Because in a lot of other countries, art is something that is part of the programs within the school system. So kids have anything from drama to music to art, like drawing, the visual component. But when you remove the art programs from school, kids no longer have a way to be expressive and identify themselves. So, Kevon, how beneficial, like I know my views on that. And are you in agreement with my stand? And what are some of the suggestions you could be recommending for some of the people that Frenchie just talked about in authority who need to start looking at it from a different perspective of us changing the model? What is your perspective?
So, there is this notion in our part of the world of art for art's sake. So,
art's sake.
it is seen as something that is entertainment. And I mean, we have art curriculum in our schools and stuff here. Yes, there's music from the primary to the secondary to the tertiary level. There's all these degrees and you study this and that and that. But I think if we look at what some other countries are doing, and look at the science behind the arts, and look at the studies that show that children who are involved in the arts do how much of a percentage better academically than those who are not involved in the arts, you know? So it's like seeing that the arts has this power for change, yes, the power for entertainment, but it's like, how do we now tap into that in a more structured way? I don't think it's structured. I think we just learn art to learn art. We don't teach these young people how to then use what they have learned to, one, monetize. We don't teach them about the external sector, and they just sort of learn the arts and then you drop them there. And a lot of them don't even practice after, because the avenues are not built in that sort of a system, in that kind of systematic way. Our industries have not grown that much where a lot of these people who are learning the arts could actually make a really good living. It's just a few people, right? So that's why things like using the arts for therapy, using the arts for teaching cultural heritage, using the arts for cultural preservation. So it's about now creating a sector. We have all these people who are trained, but there is no sector now to then employ them. There's no sector now to then expand what they would have learned in the arts. So art therapy should be a thing. It should be an actual thing and not just this abstract thought that a few people are practicing. It should be a thing. So our people who are involved in mental health care should have that as a tool. It should be an actual tool. The same as there is herbal medicines that people use in tandem with the whole scientific medicine. So I mean, yeah, we need to have art as not just art for art's sake, but look at what art can actually do.
Yeah. No, I agree. And I think building on that, that's why drama and acting is so important. Because I recall when I was going through my own self-finding, self-discovery. When I was going through my own self-discovery period of seeking out professional help to kind of center myself and my thoughts and get a more clearer insight as far as who I am and where I were in my life at that particular time, that was one of the recommendations by my therapist to enroll in an acting school. And at the time, I couldn't understand why, but I needed to be able to express myself. I am what you consider almost like an introvert somewhat, and I bottled everything inside. But I needed to find a space to let it out. So I totally could attest to that by having the right systems in place and platforms in place, that is something that could be more beneficial for the nation than less beneficial. Chris, I want to ask you, again, I'm going back to your thing because I'm curious about it. You and I have been going back and forth for a long time now on different platforms trying to figure out a way to connect. What I like about what you're doing in Grenada, because Grenada do not have an acting school that I know of. Our industry in Grenada is emerging. That's how I put it. And if you beg to differ, please chime in. I am open to correction. But from my perspective, I feel that our industry is emerging. We are not fully established. We have a long way to go. And what you are providing is not just the therapy part, but also the professional part in learning. You are a trained individual within the sector. So you understand what it means to teach people how to become actors. I get hit up all the time now. I want to act in your next movie. act in your next movie, and all that is great. But whereas there are some people who are naturally talented and they can fit that role, there is also a level of professionalism and discipline and training that needs to be executed, and you need to learn just the same. So tell me where you are as far as your school or your platform. I know you're dealing with the art therapy part, but are you also training people in acting in Grenada? Can you talk a little bit more about that for me?
Okay, great. Let me tell you what has been happening now. Okay, reviving the process. Okay, reviving the process. As I can say, I have right now, I could count 20 persons that have benefited.
Wow.
From professional training. 20 persons that have benefited from professional training. They are silent. Some are there popping out now and then. But I can say, I can hand you this person and say, if you want to work on a project, here are a few persons.
Wow.
They know what to do. They will not stress you out. You don't have to teach them anything again. You just say, I want this character, bam, bam, work on that. And they could interpret, analyze, give you the depth of the script or whatever you want to work on. So that has been happening. As I said to you, the support has not been there. I've been doing this out of my funds. I've been begging. All we are trying. Nobody helping me. Nobody will help.
Right there, Frenchie. Let's put our hands up. Who have not been doing it out of their own pockets?
Everybody, all of us.
I love it. I love it. Go ahead. I love it. The support is not there.
Yeah, but you get the point. You get the point because
go ahead, Frenchie. I'm sorry.
When Kevon said a while ago, the arts, the respect for the arts and the value for the arts, it is not attached yet. I don't know where it's hanging. You understand? And that's what I'm saying. Because as you highlighted, we bring more than just therapy. We bring professional training for the industry. We bring entrepreneurship. And I am giving all of that in my training. So you don't just come to an acting class. And it happens in my house, in my downstairs.
Wow.
But that's your studio. That is your studio. We all have to start at some point in time. We have Art is Healing. It's a worldwide, not foreign to us as Africans born in the Caribbean and the Americas. And it is so true. Art is healing. That's why we get lost away in books. And that's why we get lost away in movies. And that's why we get lost away in a lot of things. Because somebody who's an artist had to create the things that we are now digesting. But you know, and what is critical to also understand is, for people looking on now who are in the decision makers, I should say, the stakeholders, the investors who are looking on, what you are doing, Chris, I don't need to come into Grenada and do. And let's put it out there. You are a drama teacher. You are someone similar to the people who are teaching the people in the theater sector, you know, to be live actors and all these things. That's your training, that's your discipline, and that's your focus. I cannot be a director without actors. I still need to work. I still need to work, you know, with you, and to find that level of professionalism. And that, I think we really need to start lobbying together, all of us who are in the creative sectors in different disciplines, and coming together so people could understand how all the different roles work hand in hand. It is very important for us to do so. And I think as soon as we get our own act together, you like that, right? As soon as we get our own together, and we are a stronger force, I think the government will be able to now see. Because it is the truth, right? If you are doing your thing disjointly and I'm doing my thing disjointly, we don't have the numbers in strength.
Exactly.
Numbers is strength, as they say, for us to now come and say, this is a viable industry. And these are the reasons why. Because we have these tangible proof to show. Trauma 2020 is a very traumatic year for people. I think emotions that you never knew you had bottled up inside of you is now being tested.
Yeah.
And people are looking for ways to be expressed. They need that. In Grenada right now, it should have been Carnival coming up, right, Chris?
Get ready for the J'ouvert, you know, we don't miss that. I don't miss.
I was so tempted to put on my J'ouvert shirt this today, right?
You should have.
I should represent, right? My jab shirt. I have a jab shirt that representing, but it's the truth. And even within that self of expression, you have on one hand, persons are saying because of what's going on, we have to put health first, and we understand why we have to put health first, because we are really battling some really serious challenges right now, and we have to put some level of control, get some control on this. But from the expressions that the guys who are doing J'ouvert or jab is doing, I can see how that all interplay with what we are doing.
Yeah, for sure.
Can't take it lightly.
For sure.
You cannot take it lightly because it's a healing for them. You see, when person just speak about the carnival and so on as though devil this and devil that, no.
It's an expression.
It's an expression, and we're missing that story, that point, that message. It's freedom, mental freedom.
Yeah.
Imagine, I have worked with some persons who came to me and during the holidays when they get the most set of abuse, verbal, physical, emotional, you name it, during that period of time. And imagine now during that lockdown, so many persons wanting to get out of the house and just take a wine and let go my stress.
Yeah.
And but oh God, yes, that in itself is freedom of expression. And you tell me it doesn't have value? It has value. So we have to be careful how we brand it.
How we brand
That's
it,
where the art expression comes in. It's all of it. There's that for me is nothing really negative, but it's a bigger part.
The bigger part,
of freedom of expression. That's what the carnival.
And it comes back to what I was saying, how we see art as art for art's sake, which is not. All of us here, I'm sure, have played mass at some point in time. I play mass every year, and carnival is a healing. It is literally a healing. If some college in the States was to like do a study on how people are so euphoric during carnival and how that wipes away your stress and how that benefits to your mindset and stuff. It isn't just about the jump and wine and wave and drink. It's such an expression, and it has its roots. It has the historical roots of symbolizing a sense of freedom for enslaved people as well. And that has carried into how we express ourselves now during the carnival. Carnival is healing. It's a celebration. It's a celebration of life, of culture. I think if we didn't have carnival in our countries, I mean, we would have been a lot angrier as people. Yeah.
my girlfriend Janice Clark always says that. She's like, as Caribbean people, that is what keeps us grounded.
It does.
That soca song, and she's on the floor ripping it up. She's one of the happiest people I've seen here in America, always smiling because her soca music is attached to her hip. And she's always vibing, you know, she is what you represent, to the max. So yes, I do agree with you. You know, I'm still a little reserved, but in privately, I'm you know, ripping the ground too.
I just want to chime in this here. You know, when you take away the psychological, the emotional, and the social element from humans, you kill them.
Yeah.
They're walking dead.
Yeah.
Nobody thinking about that?
Yeah.
You're walking dead. Your mind, your thought process with the over 60,000 billion thought processes, ideas are coming to your head. You're dead.
Yeah.
You don't know what you're doing. So that's where mental health comes in. Mental health don't mean you're mad.
No, it does not.
It doesn't.
It
doesn't.
No, it does not. And I think that's where the disconnect is. And I think that's where we have, again, is that stigma that is attached to it. Is that bad stigma that really needs to be broken and like just destroyed completely, because it does not mean you're mad. You're just maybe off tune in certain things. You're dealing with certain things and you just don't know how to process it. Maybe it might mean expressions like your drama, like coming to your center, Kevon, where you can be a little bit more expressive, whether it's through creating something that is tangible or not, dancing, you know, as whatever is your form of expression, right? But you need some level of outlet. That's what it is an outlet. And quite often we don't have it. Quite often we are all hiding behind our beautiful doors, and we're not letting our garbage outside because we don't want people to see that we too are suffering. But we have to, you know, but we're all human beings. If no other year was a testimony to that, is this year, showing that we are all on an equal platform. Each and every one of us is trying to figure it out. But how are we going to be making a difference in our own lives and saving ourselves? Because we all are dealing with certain things. One of my biggest idols, not necessarily idols, but I love his work because I don't idolize anyone. I need to verify that. I don't idolize people. I respect their talents and I really appreciate the work that they're doing. And I think it's a Caribbean thing, right? Coming from Grenada, the stars are right there. So I'm like, okay.
That too. We don't,
that's my neighbor, so it doesn't matter to me. But one of the biggest people that I really liked was Richard Pryor.
Right.
But this dude he was really messed up. And when you start to now look at his work, we laugh and we celebrated his comedy style and all these things. But he was coming from a space of real darkness. You know, and I see you watching me.
Yes, no, go ahead, but go ahead.
Chime in on that, but it's the truth. He came from a space of darkness. And the reason why I think a lot of us embodied him and celebrated him, because it was relatable to us in our own personal space. You see what I'm going with that? Go ahead, Kevin.
I think we tend to forget, and because we think that we are these fantastic beings put here on earth and we are the greatest thing since like sliced bread. I mean, we all think that. But we tend to forget that we are spiritual beings first, having a human experience. And that is where the creativity comes from. That is where your deep, dark thoughts come from. That is where things that affect you comes from, because it affects your spirit. So when your spirit is going through that sense of darkness, the only way out then is to create something that comes from that darkness, or to create something that comes from that light. But it's not really us really creating this, whatever our spirit is reacting to on that level. And if we don't take care of that spirit, it could go down a dark, so dark that you cannot come out. It doesn't matter what you try to put out there, you're not going to come out because your spirit is broken. So we tend not to take care of our spirits.
Yes, you nail it, man. You nail it. That's it. And I always say to my students, when you come to theater or drama, remember, there are two sides, the good and the bad. Why? If you abuse this, you're going to end up in some wrong direction. If you take the good out of this, you're going to end up in a positive direction. Because I've seen a lot of people, my colleagues as well, use the arts for the wrong thing.
Give us an example, if you don't mind.
Right? You use it
I like to go on examples because a lot of times
you use it to trap persons, to abuse, because the arts can be used as a trap to imprison people further. And you become a strong political mind. If you are trained in the arts and you go into politics, you can confuse every single soul because the arts is so powerful. And we're going back into Greek history way back, and you will tell, and up to how the church has used it to control the mind. Hello, if we do theater history, I don't want to talk now, I don't want to start preaching, but you would see how the arts was used for the church to educate and to indoctrinate. It is still happening. It's very powerful. Because even if you couldn't read the Bible every time, you had people, trained actors who were being used to pass the word on to you, and you have to drink what they give you. Amen? Right. No, it's still happening today. So I want my students, when you come here, you are getting a tool that can be used to destroy people or to uplift people.
Yeah.
Do not do not use it as a weapon against the masses.
Yeah.
I am using it as a tool that would help people to see the light. Because as Kevon rightly said, when you enter there, you become even more spiritual. So don't make them fool you. You become so spiritual. That connection with, and that's why they say we're mad. But that connection with the world, where you see things, that creativity is ignited and the fire lights up. You know what I'm talking about, man? The fire lights up. It's like you want to create, you want to do, you want to help, you want to give. That is what is happening in the mind. But come on, if you talk about Einstein and them, you know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
But you praise them today. We praise them today. We praise them today. But if you know what they've been through, you understand?
Beethoven, all these people were tortured. All these they were tortured.
Thank you. So that's what I'm talking about. It is very dangerous. It is positive, but we have to be careful how it is used. Right? And it's a tool that would help save society. We're talking about sustainable development. Well, the arts could give you a lot of that. We could turn around things.
It could be, because there are so many different facets within the industry that can be very lucrative and have people working.
Be transformative,
and I think the biggest part of what's happening right now is the fact that there is lack of jobs available, and we are trained as a society that these are some handfuls of professions that we all need to embody. And one of the things I'm learning now in my lifetime is the fact that, you know, the saying where you should learn a trade. Art is exactly that, right? You learn a trade because
it's a trade
within the industry. You can be that person who's making beats for music if you like that. You could be the writer who is a lyricist and understands how to formulate words to get people to move. And you don't even need to know any kind of musical instruments, you know, for that. You know, there is the producer who knows how to go out and find money. You have the director, you have you have so many different compartments, and all this is just jobs. And
hundreds of jobs,
people are happy, and that's where sustainability comes into place, right? Mentally, we are in a better space. So we really have to start re-looking holistically, as far, especially within our community, within the region. I'm not talking about in the more established worlds and stuff like that. I'm talking now about home-based in the Caribbean. We need to shift the narrative, shift our attitudes towards this. We have a question. What do y'all think about PTSS, post-traumatic slave syndrome? Wow.
Okay.
About the Caribbean. Imelda, thank you so much. Imelda chimes in every week, so I have to give her a moment. So anyone who can address this, I love it. PTSS.
Okay. That we as Caribbean people are all suffering from across the diaspora, as we could see recently with the notion of the Black Lives Matter movement that is taking place. And as Frenchie was saying, like, I believe that the media is an art. The media is an art.
It is an art.
Right? And the media involves your print media, your radio, your online, your film, your everything. And who is the media controlled by? The media is not controlled by the minority us, right? And this is talking from a developed nation status, because they control the media, really. Because we are fed a diet of their media. We grew up on MTV. We didn't grow up on our TV stations, you know? So when you have Hollywood has portrayed a particular group of people in a certain way for all these years, and we have seen ourselves in this certain way for all these years, and we have been fed that diet so much that we then internalize that and believe that that is what we are as a Black people. Obviously, that is a different form of slavery. So that is a form of imperial, you know, that's a different form of slavery right there, because we have been fed this diet of this is what we are, this is who we're supposed to be, this is what we can achieve, this is what we look like, these are the jobs that we have. It's obvious that we have been enslaved in that sense. And there has to be a time where, I think the time maybe is now, where we have seen that and we have said enough is enough of that. And we as ourselves now have to create our own narrative of who we are as a Black person. We do not all subscribe to this one stereotype of what we have been portrayed as for all these years. But it's hard because, again, we don't control the media in that sense. So, yeah, so it has to take a coming together of everybody across the diaspora, whether in Africa, whether in the Caribbean, whether in North America. And now we have to create a whole different narrative of who we want to be seen as. And we have to reject any sort of negative way that we are being portrayed, because every race has its negatives and positives. But I mean, we all as a people cannot be portrayed as lazy. We cannot be portrayed as criminals. We cannot be portrayed as that, because we, as a people, as a body, as a race, we are so much more than that. We're not that.
We're not. We're certainly not that, because I'm not.
I'm not. Frenchie is not.
He's not.
People listening to the program is not.
He's not, you know. And my family certainly is not, you know. What is your take on that for PTSS, Frenchie? What's your take on that?
Oh, yeah. Look at it like this. The Caribbean should have a voice. And I'm focusing now, this is my perspective on the Caribbean. The Caribbean should have a voice. We here in the Caribbean still look to some motherland somewhere. That's where we want to go. Imagine it. Most students want to go to Hollywood. I want to go up there, and the Caribbean, I want to leave this place and go to Hollywood or some other place to make it big. Take it from that perspective.
Wow.
Right? Now, what are we being taught? Who is teaching us? Most of our philosophies and doctrines come from where? Which world? The Western world? Is it from our world? Whose books are we using?
That's true.
Whose writings are we using as creatives? I am writing books. I am writing my story. I am writing a Caribbean story. But you want to teach me to write a colonial story? Are you crazy? So that's why we are still stuck in it. So all of us, the educated people with our masters and our PhDs and bachelors, think that we are free. We're lying, because then we're going to teach children how to think that they are free.
Like that way, right?
I'm not thinking I'm free. I am creating a path to my happiness, knowing where I come from. And if we have our historians hiding in the background, the art shall expose them. Because the artist knows history. The artist studies history. And we could write it, we could paint it, we could draw it, we could sing it. That is how we'll get the people out of it. So we are still stuck. I have been in an institution teaching, lecturing in a school where you would teach Caribbean stuff. And then normally college is digging it out gradually, because we're having Caribbean lecturers, you know, Caribbean lecturers, people who understand Caribbean culture. That is how you're going to come out of this slave mentality. When we tell our own story, we are no longer going to remain victims. And you remain victims because you're feeding from somewhere else, the white story, and then you come and sit on every Emancipation Day and tell me you are free and you are drinking white soup. I call it white soup because whose writing are you feeding? And the children who come to you, the artists, you tell them create, and then you bash their stuff and throw it in the bin.
Yeah.
You see, you raise a really interesting point right there, because when I completed my education and I decided what stories resonated with me and what I wanted to talk about, I felt it was necessary to come back home to start to tell these stories, because that is something that was missing from what I was seeing on mainstream television here. I wanted to know about our experiences. So when I started to now do things like Scars of a Mother's Dreams that explore the psychological impact, migration, which is a huge thing in the Caribbean society, the psychological impact migration has on the children left behind. In as much as we're exploring the good and the bad, you know, there is a trauma that is attached to it. Now that you're creating a whole new generation of people that is carrying through unresolved traumas.
Yeah.
So when you start talking about this now, it might not be something that is immediately embraced in the Caribbean, because again, we don't want to really address it. But other places, it's an eye opener because whoa, I didn't realize this was happening in the whoa, what?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so I
Yeah.
felt it's necessary, as you said, for us to now, we are the writers, we are the historians, we are the people that
We are the
are now
storytellers.
preserving that our current experiences is now at some point in time going to be history. And
Yeah.
we are now the modern day historians in documenting
What happened
what
and
is
who we
happening
are. Yeah.
right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
You know, so I see where this also adds value because like they say, right, and people gloss over it again, going back to the theme of what today is about, the best artists and the best creatives are crazy, you know, but
All. Every last one.
Oh, don't do us that.
No, it's true. It's true.
I had to laugh about it because my family called me crazy all the time, and I'm like,
You call me crazy all the
just
time.
creative,
Yeah.
you know. I refuse to say I'm crazy. I'm not crazy.
Yeah.
I'm just creative, you know. The way I see the world is completely different, you know. But yeah, and you know, I think what each and every one of us are doing, the things that we are doing to change the narrative of how things is being seen throughout the society, and we're just three people.
Yeah.
We're just three people doing it on our own with no financial support from, and not just the financial support, not just
Right, to correct your space.
support, institutionalized support too, because you see, we can only go so far. I believe that when you start something, the universe provides ways to fund it. So it's not even so much the finances, but also sometimes is the necessary resources that is necessary for us to take from this level to a higher level. You know, and that's what I think all of us is struggling with. Because Kevin, you were coming home to be part of the film festival in trying to bring this whole thing of how you can use art to be expressive. And that's how you and I kind of forge this relationship, because I admire what it is you're doing, because you can definitely start changing the negative narratives into something positive. You see how fast the time does add up, right? The time does so fast. I lost my train.
I can add, Meschida, from talking from. I know we do have much time because I have to run at one as well. But I want to put it out there. I'm talking from personal experience in terms of how the arts has helped me as a person. I have used the arts to help people, but it has also helped me. I've never been clinically diagnosed or anything, but when I was a child, I suffered from really bad asthma, right?
Wow.
And a lot of the times my asthma was brought on by whether I was excited about doing something or going somewhere. So that was anxiety, right? And as an adult a couple of years ago, I had a full-on breakdown, and it wasn't diagnosed, but I knew it was a breakdown. Nobody knew what was going on with me. I was dizzy, short of breath, heart palpitations, and all of that. And because I had a very stressful job at the time, but also my mother was dying from cancer. So obviously it manifested as anxiety. I know that because I know that as a child, I had a history with something that was anxiety. And at that point is when I actually started to make jewelry. So I was making jewelry for myself. And that blew up into being a full-on line. It became a fashion jewelry line where you have people like Rupi and Arturo Chapin and stuff reaching out now to order my jewelry, you know? But it came from a space of I needed something to help me cope. And for somebody like me who is very highly functioning, I'm very highly functioning, but all of that literally broke me completely. And I can say that now. And it was that really pulled me out of that place, seeing that I could create something, and it became something as well. So definitely the arts has so much power to help you heal yourself first. And now that I have healed myself is why I saw that, I need to put this out there because other people can do the same. Other people who may not have the coping skills that I would have had, or that I thought I had, you know? So it's definitely, the art is really supposed to be used for healing. And after you heal yourself, you're strong enough to then impact others, and they will impact others, and that is how the community will be built. That is how the industry will be built. But it has to start with you.
No, I like what you said, and I thank you for being so authentic and honest when you said you had a breakdown. Because I recall I was in the middle of Manhattan, and I just broke down crying. I'm someone who never cried before, and I'm working for a corporation, and I'm like, boo hoo hoo hoo. I don't even know what the hell happening to me. You know, and that's when I knew I really needed help, because I'm like, something is off. And that's when you realize that, hold up. So very similar to you, I had to find, and I had to go deep in and find that level of creativity that came back. And I had to find that thing to pull out, because it's very easy to slide down. We have a comment by that says, has the current COVID situation affected any of you created negatively? What are some steps you've taken to mediate those effects?
Frenchie, take it away, Frenchie.
Frenchie, you take it away. I'm going to pretend as if I'm going to be like, nah, it didn't affect me one bit. I'm perfect.
Let me just throw it out here. Yes, it has affected me. Why? Because I spent hours helping people online. That's why it affected me. So it robbed me of sleep, because I've been about 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning helping people who call me and say, Frenchie, I'm dying. I'm going to kill myself. I can't make it. And this ain't no joke, guys, for those of you listening there. That's why it affected me. So when I say, yes, I finally get a holiday from all this studying and relaxing, I didn't see the COVID as a threat for me. I was just relaxing, writing more plays and creating more stuff. And then, bam, people start calling, Frenchie, we know about you doing this thing and that. So I was doing an online healing session for people. I'm telling you, man. So I was up at 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, just guiding them through the process. And I'm telling you, suicidal people, guys, it's tough. That's how it affected me. So I used it and empowered people more and guided them as to what not to do and how to do this, how to survive this. And when people were just telling me, so I'm just walking around the place, I don't know where to go. That's how COVID affected me. It gave me a chance to help more people. For me, I am locked up in relaxation and meditation and Reiki and all of that. So I cleanse. I do a lot of cleansing. That's how I heal. But my time was spent COVIDically helping people.
I did something similar because I have a background in life coaching. So I'm a certified life coach. But I didn't want to practice that type of coaching. So what I did over the COVID is that I'm also a personal branding coach. So I ran a session on personal branding for creatives. And really, it was really more of a counseling session than anything because they were all at home as well. And a lot of them were like our age and like their late 30s and 40s and stuff like that. And they were really trapped in these corporate spheres, in these different spheres, and they were so creative, they did not know what to do next. And what that session did for them is that I helped them find the essence of what they want to do, find their passion and stuff like that. And really, 9 out of 10 of them, or all 10 of them, in the next few months, will be launching whatever creative project that they had on the back burner for all this time. So help them to, but similar, you have to be very careful with the savior fatigue that you get as well. So we have to always care for ourselves. I had a session with them yesterday, the last session. It was very emotional. And they were like, this has helped them so much. That also has an effect on me because I am also an empathic person. So anything that comes my way, then now I have to take time off now to then heal myself too. Because all the negativity that comes, you can also internalize it. So in the work that we are doing, we have to practice self-care as well. And I always push that.
I agree. And for me personally, it's very similar to you guys because from the whole COVID-19 and from all the things that I was personally dealing with, birthed Chime In. Chime In came out of the whole COVID-19 thing as a way of me healing myself and making sure that I can make an impact to help other people just the same. And I am saying that I didn't have a proper blueprint as far as what Chime In would look like, but I can say by having the platform out there and putting myself out there, I was able to come out of the funk that I was in.
Yeah.
Things just started now to kind of materialize. I started to go back into meditating and exercising. That self-care is key. It is key. And I also started to kind of talk to the right people again, as far as shifting the mindset, because it is important for us to do so. And I'm a workaholic, so I bury myself in work.
We all are, aren't we? Yeah.
But yeah, so that's basically where it is, and that's how we are doing it. And I think, very quickly before, I struggled really hard because as someone who does documentaries and that's my brand, right? I'm a filmmaker, and I felt like I wasn't serving myself right because everybody was creating, everyone was capturing, everyone was documenting for a moment with the whole Black Lives Matter, but yet I was stuck. And I said, what can I do differently? I needed to find the right path for my voice to make a stronger impact versus that of just going on the side as a someone who has a picket sign, because I'm afraid of I don't like crowds. So I had to figure out what worked for me, and this is really and truly the platform that is working for me, giving voices like yourself to come on a Sunday and talking about the things that you are doing within the community, within the region, to shift the narrative as far as how we can make a difference within our community, culturally, through the arts, educationally, and just overall as human beings. So we're up on the hour. Any parting words? If you can advise any young kid right now, or even adult, or anyone struggling right now with coping with all of this trauma, what is one advice you would give to them? And we can start with Kevon.
So if I were to tell a young person now, especially young people, because we are set in our ways, and I mean, we have developed ways to cope, whether they are healthy or not, ways to cope. But a young person may not have developed these coping skills as yet. I would say first things first, talk to somebody who you trust. Definitely, because you cannot deal with it by yourself. Talk to somebody who you trust. It doesn't have to be an expert. It can even be a friend. It's all about getting out whatever is bottled up inside. And from the time you open up yourself, then there's more room for you to receive. So once you get it out there, it's easier for something positive to come back in and fill you up. So just get it out there, talk to somebody first, and then you would feel a lot better, and you would be in a better position now to then fill yourself up with something positive.
Nice. And what about you, Frenchie?
If you're going to panic, you're stressed out, immediately, first thing to do is to control your energy. How do you control your energy? Start breathing. Listen to me. Stop bawling, stop crying, and just say, breathe. Now, when you send that positive energy to your mind, your body reacts to it. I want you to just step back, sit down, or in fact, lay down on the ground or the floor, and just say, breathe. And breathe in deep, hold, let go. Breathing, hold, let go. That's the first thing to do. Because when that anxiety and that fear and that tension kick in, your heart starts to race even more, and you start to run outside and you fall down, blow down. No. Relax, control your energy. Yeah. That's the first thing to do. And then when you are doing that, you will start to talk to yourself as to figure out what's going on with you. How do you know that? You know what's happening. I am not feeling well. Okay, good. No, you need to relax. You need to relax. Relax. Just these words. That's our start. And reach out to the person, as Kevon saying, that you think could take you further. But you have to control that vehicle first, or else you're going to crash running outside.
I agree.
Agreed.
Self-care and self here. You know, my sister for a very long time, and when I was young, I couldn't understand that. Her whole model in life is the airplane model, whereby you have to save yourself first before you can put a mask on to the person next door.
Else.
And for years, I'm like, what's wrong with her? You're so selfish, you know, but like, whatever. But, as I evolve in life and get a better understanding about just life and what life means, you know, I know that self-preservation is key. You have to do things first to center yourself and make yourself well mentally, physically, and emotionally before you can even try to help someone else. So
because you can do more harm. You can end up doing more harm.
Exactly. So on this note, like I said, the hour went by so fast, and there are so many things to unpack when coming to mental wellness and mental health, because we really need to start to dismantle the stigma that is attached to us for so long, because Caribbean men, Caribbean people are very suicidal. When you start looking at the statistics as far as how these things are impacting us as a nation, it is alarming. And these are conversations that we tend not to have, but I have to agree with what Frenchie talked about. There's a lot of people who are suicidal, and we don't know what they look like. In my own family, we have people who are dealing with mental issues, and it's how you as your fellow human being are treating individuals. And we have to treat people with empathy. We must treat people with respect. And we must always put ourselves in that shoes. What if it is us? How would we want people to treat us? And how would we want people to respect us? So on this note, Kevon, Chris, thank you so much for sharing Sunday afternoon with me. Maybe in the future, very soon, we can sit down and have brunch somewhere and have a different kind of conversation. I'm longing for that. But until then,
2022.
you bypassed 21, right? But until then, thank you so much, and I do look forward to continue the collaboration and us creating and helping, doing our part to help the nation. So to everyone, to everyone out there in the virtual space, again, thank you so much for chiming in today. If you are new to Chime In, please subscribe, please share, and encourage others to support us. We're here every Sunday at 1 p.m. And for our returning audience and participants, thank you so much for your engagement. And we look forward to next week when we are speaking with more creatives on opportunities, challenges, and other things within our creative space. Until enjoy. I'm trying to do the whole thing right. I'm trying to exit nicely.
Okay.